I hit play. Hopefully we can knock this out in 30 minutes an hour. We'll see how it goes, right? And so, right now I'm just talking with you to kind of break the ice, make things smooth.
Okay.
Once you feel like you're ready to go, you feel less tension, I feel that we're on the same flow,
Okay.
we can begin.
Beautiful.
So, we set the tone. Welcome, guys. My name is Manuel Varez, and I am with my lovely friend by the name of
Destinee Meek.
Destinee. Guys, this is Return to Spirit, first episode of our series called Returning to Roots. Returning to Roots is pretty much where I go around speaking with others, millennials, Gen X, boomers, whoever it may be, those who have found their root, found their ancestral connection, and decided that in this modern times, the way that we're going to move forward is not only connecting with ancient practices, but interweaving it with modern times and figuring out how do we connect and honor the body, mind, and soul within our medicine, within our technology, within our laws, and just the way we live our lives. And so today we have a special episode where we're just talking about, who we are, where we come from, and show the world, especially young black boys and girls, that there is something beautiful and there's something courageous and pure about being able to speak and connect with your ancestral roots that's not demonized the way the West is. So, not being too long-winded, what we have here for you here today is just open and authentic conversations. And so, I have my little list because, hey, I'm good at a lot of things, but we have to start somewhere. And so, Destinee, how are we doing today?
I'm doing good. Thank you for asking. That was such a great introduction to kind of get to where we are going in this podcast today.
Mhm.
This is my first ever podcast with Manuel, so I'm very excited and appreciative that we actually connected a few times through a farmer's market. So through the connection, we had a same alignment with what we're kind of trying to do and trying to help like certain individuals. So I'm honored to be able to be here today and to speak with him and to kind of build on certain things that we haven't been hidden on, and it needs to be talked about in the community, especially the brown community. So I'm excited. I'm excited.
So, I have a flow, and the flow, where we're going to start with origin stories. And so, since this being your first podcast, and it's really an honor that you're here doing it with me, thank you, thank you.
Yes.
I would say, what's your origin story? If you want to show the world or tell the world about who you are, what do you want to show?
Who am I? So what I have learned, I feel like over the years, to be in the simplest form, I'm a star. And I feel like everyone around us are stars. However you want to look at it, whether it be big or small, we are one star part of a bigger star system. So me doing my part as a star, even though I have my own production and stars within me making sure that I'm healthy and healed and wise and doing my part has got me to believe like I'm a star. Yes, we are beings, but in this process of being beings, I'm also very spiritual and also, spiritual and physical. So coming from where I feel like we all came from heaven. So I was born and raised in the Midwest of Chicago. So I was able to get a very southern hospitality of life. I grew up in all areas. So I was in the city, I was in the suburbs. My dad, he roamed the streets, he walked the streets. So I got to learn the bus service, taxi service, train service. So I was more so, in the streets. But then my mom, she was book smart. So not only did I learn, streets education, I also learned knowledge about, making sure I'm able to read, write, able to make sure I'm able to communicate with people.
Mhm.
And so I had a really great upbringing with my parents. I got both sides of the spectrum of the outside and inside, which was really cool. And then being here in Florida, and being risen in Illinois is such a different aspect because in Illinois in the Midwest, people are more homier, they're more friendlier, they're more open, they're more based in community. So kind of just shifted now back to where I came from to like, okay, this is what I want to do now.
Nice. And so, with roots and everything, being a star, was that something that was like in your household growing up, like speaking about ancestral roots, or like me or many of us, were you like had to grow up in a Christian home, Catholic home, Muslim home, and then as you begin to grow we started to find ourselves. How was it for you?
Basically that, yeah, I absolutely grew up in a Christian home. My dad was Christian. We went to church every Sunday. My mom, she was Christian, but she was we only going to church during what is it,
Christmas
holidays.
holiday.
Exactly, yeah. Holidays and stuff. So like when I was in the Christianity and I was in the church, I enjoyed the church and I enjoyed the community, but it felt like some kind of disconnect. And I think that's what helped me, like, okay, I like the religion, I like the structure, but something is disconnected. So then I started to further into Buddhism, and I went into Muslim, and I went into different religion trying to find the connection. And what I learned, like, we need the connection with people, we need the connection with God, but that upbringing, it really helped me have that connection, that relationship with God, which furthered on everything else that happened like after that, which was really amazing.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I could definitely agree to that because, like, I enjoyed my time in the church in the sense of the community, us all gathering, trying to seek that higher connection to spirit, coming together with the food, wherever, all the times wherever we're coming together and commune, we love that.
Exactly.
As humans, we want to feel connected to other people. As much as we try to deny that, we want to feel where we want to belong.
Yes.
And so, church was that place where people figured, or the perception is, hey, I'm coming for spirituality. At the same time, I'm coming for community. And all through my early teens and up into my early 20s, I was in the church. But like you mentioned, there was something missing.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to be very honest, there's days I'm out here waving. I'm like, I'm trying to feel it.
Yeah.
But I'm like, if I go too much, people are going to look at me weird because it's like a more of a, yeah, you're a Christian, but you have to act a certain holiness. And the way we move and with the spirits just to move through Caribbean people and African people, you know, we become really expressive.
It's like you're putting on a mask when you go into these buildings.
Yeah.
Instead of taking off your mask, because you're trying to free yourself from sin. You're trying to get away from sin. So it felt like a very judgmental space instead of a safe haven.
And so we felt we seen all the backdoor drama. We seen all the craziness that was happening. So that's where like the cognitive dissonance and a lot of, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? Confusion started to come because I'm like, I'm looking up to these leaders.
Yeah.
But these leaders out here doing the mess that they're telling us to stay away from.
And we're looking up to the leaders because we're trying to gain, well, for me, I was trying to gain a higher connection with our creator. And that's what I thought their intention was, and it wasn't. And that hurt me because it's like I only came here to get closer to God.
Yeah.
And so I learned not having to be in a physical church, like really learning like our body is a church. So making sure you're taking care of your body. You can, like, right now where two or more gathered, there's a church. You know what I'm saying? So I had to, once I got into that mentality, I stopped feeling like I had to go to some physical place, some place that I had to worship where you can absolutely, we're worshiping right now. We're having church right now. This is a ceremony right now. So getting out that space of that really like opened, unlimited me to everything, which is great.
And I don't want people to think that, you know, we're against other people's form of faith, but it was more of, especially as African men and women, we have such a diverse way of spirituality, of expression, coming from all different families and roots. And so it's more of showing people and exposing, especially our youth, that the reason why you might not be connecting to this form of doctrine is because it's not from your ancestral bloodline root. It's nothing to be ashamed about. It's more of connecting and tapping into where or how you can resonate with the higher power. Music, food, dancing, and everyone has a little different flavor, different spicing, different rhythm. And so spirituality, where we're all looking for, is figuring out, who am I from within and how does God want me to be? And we gave all this power to these external forces that they, and well, it says, you know, when you have absolute power, it corrupts absolutely. So a lot of people lost the way, and we forgot that Christ does dwell within, and there's many ways that Christ has revealed himself to us in nature, in our homes, in the most darkest situations. And so that does take me to the next the next segment of, what's the awakening for you, where you like, you know what? I know God loves me. I know what I'm doing within is going to be what's going to save me, you know, in the long run. However, I live in this matrix that has told me that I need to have this type of religion, this type of career, this type of lifestyle. I need to live this certain way. What was that awakening moment when you realized I have to do the eternal work before the external world begins to show me the fruits of that labor?
I think it aligned with the church as well. Me going through different religions and seeing that, okay, I'm doing different religions, but everybody has their own rules, has their own laws, but the end goal is to get closer to God. And so when I saw the end goal, I'm like, okay, all I'm trying to do is gain this higher power, like you said, with our higher frequency, our creator, and that was the goal. And so once I got to that, I started to ask questions. I started to be kind of rebellious because I didn't like how they were doing certain things, because then when I really started to gain that connection with the higher power, guess what? My discernment started to kick in. You know, my my lobes of my brain started to develop. I started to hear more. I started to sense more. I started to feel more. Like everything, when I connected and was like, okay, I'm fully with God. Like I'm walking with God. I'm not walking with these people. Because that was the issue too. I was trying to walk with the people of the church and not really trying to be with God. And then when I saw from the different religions that the goal was to get to God, I'm like, okay, well, let me just not skip that, but let me focus on fully cultivating that relationship with my creator. And once I did, like, that's when everything started to click. That's when everything started to click. Everything started to feel like it was like, I just like, okay, I rose up. I'm here now. Now, what did I need to do to help? Now, what do I need to do to serve? Okay, I need to take care of myself. And so once I found that, and once I started doing that, that's when I started to internally heal, because I had some things, not I wouldn't say like traumatic, but things that I know that happened to my mom and happened to her mom that kind of dwindled down into me just from what they've been through, because they didn't heal before they had me. So it was like I was kind of healing certain things that happened in the past. And I was like, okay, well, I know I want to have children. So I'm like, well, let me heal and get right. So then once the children do come, I'm not passing on the same, the same curses.
Yep.
So it kind of fluctuated, like in high school when I started to ask questions and be rebellious or be a little bit disobedient towards the people, because I wanted to be more obedient to God. And then from there, I just started researching. And it seemed like once you open, everything starts to align for you. So once you open to that path, like, okay, I wanna do better. I feel like that's when everything starts to shift in naturally. It's a natural take. It's a natural take.
People forget it's walk with God, not with your
Yes.
congregation,
Yes.
not with your pastor, not what your mom and
Yes.
your dad told you, not
Yeah.
what your husband, not what your wife told you.
But that's what the church tell you. It's like
Mhm.
the church tells you to walk with them, and it's like, no, that's not what the Bible's saying.
That's a whole another episode going down the rabbit hole, because a lot of these places they see your power,
Yeah.
and truly it's the divine feminine power in which all creation comes forth. It just means birthing. As a man, I don't birth, but I do have a sacral chakra.
Yeah.
In my sacral chakra, the energy can be for creation, but the pool does not go as deep as the feminine.
Mm-hmm.
So when you see these churches where you see a lot of male pastors, and then around them you see a lot of female congregations, a lot of female, in these positions that are just about below the pastor, is he in ancient times you would have like the pharaoh or a shaman, whatever it be, and he surrounds himself with the wisest women, and he doesn't withhold or stifles her. She says, if you're a man or you're a woman, well, if you're a woman of the forest, the spirit's going to speak to you about what herbs are good to eat, what the almonds are saying. Hey, this is fertile ground. Let's mold this area and grow some of the fruits. This is how you're going to feed your family.
Yeah.
The women over here, the women who love going to the beaches, she's like, I'm connected to the sea. Well, what the sea is telling you? Hey, if you send your men over here, they say there's a school of fishes. I come here every morning and I see this great shimmer. And so when we begin to see these downloads, these little ha-ha moments, they're coming from the intuitive nature of the feminine principle. And so what a real pastor or a real leader does is like, yo, just the way I look out here and I've been to discover the secrets and hidden beauty and gems of nature, the women represents the same principle.
Yes.
If you honor that, the only person who knows how to truly tap into that is the man of God who's doing the same type of work.
Correct.
We have a lot of charlatans. And so throughout the years, they still see your power, but they want to now put your power in this system, in their battery pack, in their, they want to use your life force to uplift their church.
Correct.
They want new seats. They want new jumbo screens. They want the paramedics. But I'm like, what is this giving back to the women? What is this
Correct.
giving back to the land, children? And
It's
so
siphoning. They're siphoning a lot of energy. And I felt that being in the churches, they're siphoning a lot of energy, taking a lot of our time, because knowing that people want that connection and everything you just said, they're not giving that. They're just taking and depleting. And that's how I felt. I felt depleted. I felt more lost when I was in the church than being out and learning that we can cultivate our own churches within ourselves.
And so when you said that was beautiful, because like they don't want you to see your power.
Correct.
And the power isn't about, oh, I have more money than you. The power is like, no, when I go out here, I can see and feel the land. And so when I'm seeing this, you ever been to like a mechanic shop, something where someone has to do a laborious job, and you see that person is not prepared for the job?
Yeah.
Like, yo, you about to work on my car, or you're my doctor, you're my nurse, you about to take care of my mom. And it's like,
you're not
you can look at him and feel him, feel her, like you're inadequate.
Yeah.
So a lot of these people in the churches, they didn't want truly the women to reach their full power.
No.
Because if you're not putting the standards of what a man of God truly is, who you really want to be led by, a lot of them fall short.
Yeah.
And then this caused a lot of, I call it leading sheep to the slaughter, because if you're not truly in a position where you're supposed to be a leader, and you have a congregation of your women, your fathers, everyone's asking you, hey, what's the discrepancy? Can you tell me about these things? And instead of giving you an honest answer or guiding you to seek the clarity, they want to shut you down. They want to keep you suppressed. This is what caused so much, generational trauma, because now people don't know how to speak up. They don't know how to open up their throat chakra, especially when you're expressive.
Yeah.
So the more you're able to express, it's the more that we're able to see, hey, if I'm not doing this properly, I'm not going to get the results I need. Yeah. So how do I come back and then listen properly to then receive the true guidance that comes from the divine feminine and the divine masculine? Now we put it to action.
Yes.
We work together. It's a beautiful symbiotic relationship once we begin to awaken and see, we're the gods and goddesses.
Yeah.
And from there, next segment would be the cycle. How do we break the cycle? How did you break the cycle in the sense of, we have trial and error when we start to step away from the church, when we start to change our lives, when we start to do things that quote unquote people call rebellious, but we understand that we're finding our true path. What were some of the things that, hurdles that you went through, and some of the things that kept you, on the path?
Honestly, God kept me grounded on the path. Sure. And I noticed that through my connection with God, I was able to kind of maneuver just through being obedient. So like I finished school because none of my past relatives, they graduated college, even though like I knew in my mind, like, yeah, this is college, this is their war of college, but I knew like in my mind, this is a space of discipline that past generations that I came from didn't do. So one, just honestly renewing and restoring my body with discipline, with knowledge, with wisdom, it helped me get to the path. Like, okay, so then from there, fast forward to me having my child. Before I had kids, I knew I wanted to homeschool. I knew I wanted to give a natural birth. So now educating myself before she came here. So then once she got here, I was able to do all that. So really just educating. On top of the educating, in the same space, I'm healing. So I'm learning, I'm forgiving, I'm learning, I'm letting go, I'm learning. I'm like, it's like sometimes I'm moving back, sometimes I'm moving forward, but at every moment I was always with God. So it never led me astray. I always felt like I was going and doing what I needed to do. And so from there, it just more learning, just more knowledge. And I got into this beautiful mentorship, which we were talking about, the mental magic, where like mental magic kind of just gave us a deeper understanding of how much just from this physical body that we can connect with our creator. And it goes so much past this 2D, 1D, 2D, 3D world. Like it's so many dimensions and worlds and avenues and spirits that you can get into and learn about, and just cultivating that relationship. God wants us to have a relationship. And you don't have to go in your bathroom, close the door, and get on your knees. Like, yeah, if you want to, you can. But it's just about literally us having this conversation right now as goddesses and gods. Like, this right here is healing. This right here is nurturing. This right here is setting a new generation the more we talk about this is rewiring our genes internally onto a cellular level. So it's a physical level, it's a spiritual level, it's a mental level. It's so amazing. So me being on a level with our creator has just helped me get to every other level. I couldn't have done it
That's
literally
beautiful
without.
said.
Yeah.
So you mentioned mentorships and the cycles of being connected to God and knowing that regardless of what's going on, that was able to keep you on that path.
Yes.
So for the younger girls who are going through the same cycle, going through the awakening, because I tell people, and I can even attest when I was in law enforcement, there's times where I had to cut the fluff.
Yeah.
Or I had when I'm talking to a young girl that I'm about to Baker rack, or a young boy of Baker rack. And Baker rack just means that they are experiencing, medical Western science would say they're experiencing a hallucination. They're experiencing a lot of psychotic episodes. We'll then take them to the psych ward to either get medicated, to be assessed, and so forth. And not to say there are not people with a lot of medical disorders that make them appear or act in very bizarre and crazy ways. But there are a lot of times that we overlook that a lot of our young boys and girls, and especially our women, especially girls, when they hit puberty, and then from practically from 13 to about 25, they are getting messages from the spiritual realm. They're very spiritual people, and they will hear things, see things. They're four clairs: clairaudience, clairvoyance, and all these things.
Oh yeah, I've heard that before.
You have those abilities, and when you're not trained properly, it might look like schizophrenic. It might look like bipolar, because they say a spirit came onto your head, and now you're acting in this very bizarre, masculine way, feminine way, fierce way. And instead of calling them crazy or demonizing them, okay, what's really going on? It's an emotional scale, and we forgot how to really talk to, especially our young girls when they're going through, early learning, getting their period, and now the cycle of becoming the motherhood cycle.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of things where, as a male in this male vessel, that I won't feel, but I can see in their eyes that they were struggling, that they were seeking answers that the mother couldn't provide because she was not connected to the matriarch.
She wasn't connected. Yeah.
And then she's surrounded by these lukewarm religious groups that they don't have the answers. And then you got the lukewarm spiritual guru people who are not really there. So that not to say they're not real and authentic seekers within the church. They're there, but they're so scattered. And then there's a constant play of not giving the truth out, especially to our next generation of the matrices of all our young girls. So not sticking that for that too long. What would be?
No, it's absolutely true. It's absolutely true. And me having a daughter, I'm seeing that as well. Like I wasn't taught properly of certain things with my moon cycle. And even as like I'm 33, so even as going into my adulthood, I'm still learning about my moon cycle. I'm still learning how it connects to the moon. I'm still to this day, like every month I'm having these same emotions, and I don't know where they're coming from, and I'm like, oh okay, it's because of that. And it's always a new thing for me, but it's because I was so disconnected for so long. Like I grew up on birth control. My mom put me on birth control. That was the easiest for her to do when I became sexually active, instead of teaching me the importance of sharing my body with other people and being on my moon cycle. So going into adulthood, I had to learn that. And at the same time, like I said, as I'm learning, I'm forgiving, because I couldn't hold a grudge on my mom, because why would I get mad at her when she didn't know? And her mom didn't know. So guess what? Now I have to learn. Now I'm making the conscious decision, like I want to learn more about my body. I know I didn't want to be on birth control. I knew I wanted to have kids. I knew I wanted my womb clean. I wanted my womb clear. I knew I wanted to bring forth something good. Because you understand, when you're bringing forth children, you want to make sure the host, like you are hosting this baby. This is your vessel, so you want to make sure your vessel is as clean, as pure as you can get it. And that was my goal. So, like I said, on the midst of learning, I'm forgiving all the shit that she didn't do, or she coulda, woulda, shoulda. But me now having a daughter, I don't make excuses. Well, I didn't know that. I didn't know that, because I noticed the past generation, whether they had the resources or not, they didn't make it happen. So they made excuses for it not happening. And so I think the younger girls coming into now, we have to stop making excuses. Well, I didn't have the resources, or I didn't know, or I didn't have help. That's an excuse, because the knowledge is there. And the more I notice, the more that you get yourself together, your heart space together, and your heart space in a good, pure, grounded, soft space, then it'll start to flow naturally. You don't have to seek out for much. You don't have to be going searching and, begging. And no, it aligns for you when you're getting it together. So we have to, young women, we have to stop making excuses. Well, I didn't have this. I didn't have this. I can't do that. I can't do this. They didn't do this for me, so now I can't do that. No, it's like, where are we at now? And how do we get to the next step of wanting to do better? So if you know that you have to break generational curses, why are you still feeding your kids the same thing? If you know the public, education system is dying, I understand that yes, we all can't homeschool, but what extra things are you taking accountability for? Like, hey, I need to make sure my kid knows this, this, and this because the system is lacking this. So wherever the system is lacking, this is where we have to come in as male and females. We got to understand, like, this is where it's lacking. We need to, take charge and step up, and this is what we have to do for the next generations to come. And I think we kind of lost the plot. Like, people forgot it is about the next generation. We become very selfish, and people have become very, this is about me, me, me. And it's like, if it was about you, it would only be you here. Now, yes, in the sense of you have to do the healing, the self work yourself. But once you do that work is for everybody else. That work is not just for you. Like, you're good. So now you, like what Frank in Mental Magic, he always says, you save yourself and then you save others. Even when you're on the plane, the first thing they say is you put your mask on first and then you help the next person. But we are here to help each other. So it's become a lot of selfishness, a lot of bitterness, a lot of hurt, a lot of hatred because of what people have been through. And it's like, we need to get past that. Yep. We need to get past that. We need to come to the center. We need to see where we're at in the present so we can get better for the future. It's a lot of just excuses of what people went through and, like, not what we're doing. Like, you got excuses and then you got a solution. I'm a very solution-based person, so I'm like, okay, this is the problem. What's the solution? Like, all the in-between, the complaining and this, and this is what happened, and this is why I'm like that. It's very understandable, and I'm not taking away from what people experience. But we also need to continue, like, okay, what are the solutions? Like, what are we trying to do better?
I 100% agree. And as you guys can see, no one is perfect.
Correct.
We come through trials and tribulations of past traumas, mistakes, good and bad. Ooh, look at that.
It's a bee?
The bee, yeah. It's bubbling around my head.
Nice.
Hello, Shun. I love moments like that. But what is emphasizing is pure doesn't mean this perfection of no scars, absolutely perfect life. There was not one blemish in your life, because if that's the case, none of us can sit here and speak about the glory in some of these greatest
testimonies. Yeah,
exactly. And so pure just means, yo, I'm doing this to the best of my ability. So once you have a pure of heart, it's simply saying, I'm doing what I can to feed myself the best organic food to keep myself healthy. I'm doing the grounding, meaning that I'm sitting down and I'm releasing a lot of that pain within my body. Yes. Doesn't mean I'm going to heal automatically one day, no. But I'm doing this with the purity of my heart, meaning I'm sincere. If I want to have children, if I want to be a good father, if I want to do anything, it's not to say that you're going to do it perfectly, but when you do it with a pure heart, meaning these are my true intentions, it is felt, it is seen.
Exactly.
Some are here already, and they look amazing when they do it. But it doesn't mean when you reach here that somehow you failed. Your purity, your ability to, jump and you want to reach here for the first time, God bless you. That's an amazing, feat, because most people, they don't know how to come back from the pain. They don't know how to break the cycles. But when you begin to seek out the women who are doing the work, these are like your foremothers, and be like, yo, she did it. I can see a lot of myself in her. And so now I feel safe to come to her and let her know, like, hey, I'm sexually active. What should I do? Should I go on birth control or should I shouldn't? I'm doing this. I'm doing that. And so a lot of the things that young boys, young girls do sneaking around, we do it because we don't know it's right or wrong.
Correct.
But if I can see a matriarch, a woman who's like, okay, she knows life and she's going to know what I'm feeling, what I'm going through, I can come to her for guidance. And so have no shame. This is where you open up. I'm like, you know my name. And you can see there's kids here. And that's how family communities work. Hey, we still got to record. We still got to do work. Bring the kids. The kids are safe. Anything happens, hey, Destinee, go teach the kids, and now I, as a man, have to go handle this. If I come back, yes, I'm having an amazing story. If I don't, let my family know that I love them, and then tell about my story. And how it's easy and cool that sound, it's how we keep each other safe.
Yes.
This is how, like, yo, everything I heard is like, I need to preserve this. Because when you see, especially the divine feminine, taking herself, sacrificing herself for the next generation, it is probably the most beautiful and at the same time arousing energy a man feels. Because it's like the same way nature breaks herself to provide fruit. It's life sustaining. You need to form the breast milk. You need to have healthy, foods going in your body so that it goes into the next child.
So you're able to,
You're going to be feeding me when I enter your body. When you're, that's all that energy being exchanged.
Correct.
So when you see the divine feminine saying, this vessel, what I'm doing is keeping it pure in the sense that whoever drinks or eats of my fruit is going to give them everlasting life. It's like, yeah, I can see that and I can feel that.
Yeah.
And then young girls be like, yo, the way all these young boys and even the men admire her and look at her, I want to follow her in her footsteps because you get more honey.
Yeah.
You get more honey when you get more bees with honey. How does that saying? The bees just came around.
Yeah. Get more
bees with honey. And so being sweet doesn't mean being, lustful, being manipulative, being soft. It just means being sincere, being authentic. And then once you know that and listen, I'm not going to settle for, GMO foods. I'm not going to settle for, someone who doesn't know what he's doing. I'm not going to listen to that. And it's like, yeah, God bless you.
Because you've reached a level of understanding. And I like how you said earlier, once you get to a certain level, now it's like if people are here, you have to be able to humble yourself to come down there. But that doesn't mean I'm going to dwell at your level. I'm coming down to help you there if you want the help. Because also we can't force people to help. We can speak all this, we can show all this, we can even do it, but people have to want to do the work as well and want to help others. And know that you have to be selfless in all of this. You have to be selfless. This is not for you. This is not an ego thing. This is not a ego boost. This is for you, for everybody else. And so being able to humble yourself at the layer and level where everybody else is, that's something I had to learn as well, because I put myself at a pedestal at a certain point, and God was like right away. He was like, no, you have to go where everybody else is at. You have to be where everybody else is at. You might be a little bit further, doesn't matter, because your people are not further. So as your people are still left behind, you need to go back and save them. You need to go back and help them. But me, like, okay, figuring out how can I help, making sure I'm good in a good heart space, making sure, I'm still having understanding and knowledge and wisdom and forgiveness, because a lot of people, what they continue to do to each other is very hard. And it gets to the point where I want to be like, F y'all. I want to walk away. But then I see, because I have a psychology background, I start to think psychological. Like, okay, I see why you're like this, because of your parents and their parents and even your environment and even the school you were raised in. Like, it plays a whole factor of how you became a person, but it's not an excuse, because you can always renew yourself. And I think people have to understand that. They think that they are stuck in a certain way because how they were raised and what they've been through, and not understanding that everything can shift in the blink of an eye. You can absolutely change right at this moment. You can decide that you want to be good. Right at this moment, you can decide that you want to be righteous. You want to follow the fruits of the spirit. You want to be patient and joyful and merciful. People don't have patience. That's literally one of the fruits of the spirit is patience. And people go on the world so impatient. Even just that one thing that can help you right there. So it's like we have a lot to work on, but we're here. We're here waiting and willing to help the hands that are willing to be served. And I hope that one day we can get to the point where we are really serving each other and having these conversations and really building and growing and connecting in a very spiritual, pure way. For sure.
So now, as we begin to bring all this into a beautiful nutshell, so to speak, what would you say are the roots that Spirit connected you to, in the sense of the practices that you do now? I know when I met you, you had a lot of herbs, tinctures, and stuff like that, and I'm like, yo, this smells good. What is this? And you're telling me about all these crazy, amazing benefits that you can get from just going outside and knowing what you're foraging.
Yeah.
And so, like, what are your medicine that you would now service people with? What are the things that you want to show and let people know that you do? now with the ability you have. And yeah.
Yeah. I started learning literally just being outside when I was younger. My sister and I we were always outside. But as a kid, I always remember being outside. And I always remember like picking up flowers, picking up plants, I had tasted this one flower and it had like a honey in it.
Mm.
And then from there, I started just to randomly start pick flowers, harvesting and stuff. And as I got older, learning that the flowers and the herbs were medicinal, I started to indulge more. So literally just growing with nature, being in tune with her, she kind of showed me the benefits of what she gave. And then I just did my due diligence of learning more to be respectful of nature, because you have to adjust to nature. This shit's poisonous. You know, you don't know what you're eating. Thank God that he didn't take my life away from all the stuff that I was trying as a kid. I was trying berries. I'm trying every plant. Anything that looked colorful, I was tasting it as a kid.
God bless
I know.
God was protecting you.
No, he was. And so just going from that, I don't know how I got into the actual like herbalism world. Again, I feel like it flowed to me. I started it, and then God just kind of led me through it. And so learning from that, I'm like, okay, so God has given us everything. Every season God sprouts a certain weed, well, they call it weeds, but a certain medicinal plant that is for that season. You have everything here, fruit bearing seed that is for us. So really like immersing myself in that and learning that we are nature and nature is us. And now it's just learning nature, respecting nature. That kind of just went into my world of healing, because like I said, I was on birth control. So I took these herbs and I would start to heal my womb. And then I was having certain kind of skin issues. I took those herbs and I was healing my skin as well. So it was a lot of things that I was doing from the herbal aspect. Of course, I just made it into a business because everybody was asking me for these herbs. So I'm like, okay, well, so I need some kind of profit. Like, because now I'm doing the labor, now I'm doing the research, and now I'm explaining to people what it is, which I don't mind. Like, I don't mind. I'll go in depth detail of what something is, and I'll give you a full tutorial on how to do it. That's just what I do. So I didn't mind doing that. So that's how that happened. And then at the same time, I was going through like the herbalism, I started to get into the yoga and the meditation world, and I ended up getting certified in yoga. I don't really do yoga as much because I came to the conclusion that it's just movement. Like, we just need to move our bodies. Our blood needs to flow properly because we have to move our bodies. For us to expel stuff, we have to sweat and move our bodies. And so going into the yoga world and the meditation world just led me to learning how to breathe properly, because breath is so important. Breath work, how important breath work it was. That led me into fasting because I wanted to breathe deep. And I noticed when I didn't eat, I can breathe deeper. So that led me to just things that were happening real weird in my mind. It was very crazy. It was like I was hallucinating, but I wasn't on any kind of drugs. It was breathing. But I noticed when you breathe for a certain amount of time, it takes you to another world.
Yeah, it's a high.
Have you experienced that? Have you experienced that?
Yes.
That is a high, like, and you can feel it.
It's hot. It's
yes.
There's different terms for it. People call it like dragon breath. There's different forms of breathing. So you even got to be practice breathing. That's crazy.
You really do.
But there's times where we begin to open up all the valves, and it's like taking oxygen and hitting it to the solar plexus. This is where the fire is. And then when it hits that, it sends this. That's why I can explain it. It's this orgasmic feeling in a sense. It radiates through your body, and
up and down too, from the top to the bottom to your just from breathing.
I like to tell people that's just like the pure oxygenated blood hitting all the bloodstreams, and now you're feeling that cleanse of truly getting clean air into your system. And if you're not grounded properly, you can pass out. Because
I've gotten a little dizzy before. I was standing up breathing one time, and I didn't know that I was going to go that into that realm, and I literally sat down because I literally felt it. I literally felt it. And it's an amazing experience. I think everybody should experience it. But a lot of people, they don't like fasting. You know, a lot of people, they don't even understand the properness of breathing. Like, we should be mouth breathing. It's a certain way that the body's supposed to filter that air. But just from that, like breathing, like that really opened up so much. So something so simple. So breathing and moving, that has really just helped me just get through a lot of things, making sure my body is always in a good space to be able to move and run and hop and skip, especially because I have children. So I try to be always in a space of healthiness. I think people kind of lost a plot of that as well. As a lot of people that are just completely so unhealthy. And that's one of the things, like, we have to take care of our bodies, you know? You have to take care of your bodies. And I think People, they've given up on that. They've given up on themselves. They've given up on the society. They no longer care to seek out or sort out for healthy things. They no longer care to do any kind of meditation, any kind of movement, any kind of breathing. They think yoga is demonic. That was another topic I want to talk about. Yoga is demonic. And I'm like, how is moving demonic? Have you heard that before?
Oh, all the time.
Okay, yeah.
It's when you have a limited perspective, and this is why I had such a calling to create this return to roots where people have a misconstrued perception of what yoga is, what crystals are. You know what I mean? People look at me like, oh, I can't talk to you. You are a crystal. I'm like, sir, I've saved more men and women than you ever will in your life. However, you are here judging me based on appearance, not on the fruits,
Exactly.
not on my character, not on the receipts that I can show you, but because you have a limited perception of what yoga is, what crystal is, what Reiki is, what herbals and organic living is, you're going to first block me from speaking to the next generation about the tools and modalities they've been using. At the same time, you're going to try to then demonize me, throwing stones at me. So it's like, guess what? Time's going to tell.
Yeah.
And so, right the flow. But pretty much, it's coming back to, hey, just because you are in the cult or religion that's predominantly the name brand doesn't give them the right to then demonize or reject what we're doing. Because at the end of the day, we all are sovereign souls.
Exactly.
We have the ability to express who and what we are on our own without these religious authority figures.
Yeah.
So yeah, as we know, a lot of people like to demonize yoga. They like to demonize crystals. They like to demonize, using herbal medicines or talking in the forest or taking your shoes off. And as we can see, it's mainly because a lot of people have a pretty limited perspective of what spirituality can be and the diverse abilities that we do have. And so, with that, Destinee, where can we find you? Where can people learn more about herbs? Where can they, hear about the cycles and the navigations that you had to go through?
Yeah, I think learning about the herbs is really just taking the time with the herbs. Like, people have a misconception that we have to learn about every single herb, and I think that if you allow to take your time with 1 to 3 herbs and really just facilitate a relationship with that one herb, it'll kind of really show you that herbs have all this kind of synergy for us to experience. So then now you get to learn into the next herb and then from there. So don't think that you have to go into this bulk knowledge of learning every herb, and knowing that you can stick with a few, really immerse yourself, take your time, just get out into nature. There's so many things in nature I think that we kind of look past because we don't have the time, or we feel like we're just busy. But really just taking the conscious time to go for a walk, go hiking, go to the beach. There's so many things that you can experience just about being out in nature and learning just about being out in nature. And so that's how I've immersed myself in nature, and she's taking care of me. She continues to show me more, and I continue to give her more. So it's an infinite exchange, which I love. And that's how I learned, literally just being in nature. So I'm only on one social media platform at the moment, which is TikTok. It is Eternal Garden with an ETURNALL Garden. And that is the only way that you can reach me. I am getting to the point where I want to go back to being in person. Like I was telling Manuel when he was talking about the podcast, would you want to do it through Zoom, or would you like to do it in person? I'm an in-person kind of person. So I'm getting to the point where if you want to see me and want to be around me, we need to connect in person. And so if you want to connect with me on through TikTok, I do consultations. I build up care packages for people because everybody is going through something individual. So I take the time to listen to you, to speak with you, to build with you, so I can cultivate something that is personally for you. If that's something that you're interested in, you can find me on my TikTok. And then from there, if you want to get into a deeper connection, I don't mind connecting through, via phone. We can email, we can talk, we can meet up in person. Hopefully, as this goes forward, we can bring, more people together and do these builds. And I feel like that can help us just get back to the community. Because that's the goal for me. Like, we've been saying a lot of things, and I've been doing a lot of personal work, but I'm hoping like as we come to the community that everybody has been doing their own personal work, and everything that we all been saying, like now we can all connect it and align it, together, and like, okay, now we're here, now we're in one flesh, we're in one body, we got this. And that's my goal from as we're moving forward and as we're growing. So I just want to again say thank you, and I appreciate you for one, like taking the time to speak with me, to grow with me, because like we were saying, it's different levels, it's different layers, and a lot of people they're not even on level one. So being able to build with somebody that is on a higher frequency, it kind of just it eases my soul and it helps my heart out, because it's like, okay, I'm not the only one, and it completely takes me out of my world, because sometimes we do get lost in our world and what we got going on and what we're going through, and we kind of forget about what's going on around us. But nature also brings you out of your world, because there's so many things going on behind us. We got the birds going, we got the insects making sounds, we have the noise of everything around us. So really taking your time out of your world to be in the next person's world. So I really appreciate him for bringing me out of my world into his world and into the outside world, so we can understand and fully see, like, okay, this is what we need, this is what we should be doing, and if you can't do this, this is what you can be doing, or just finding a solution for gathering and getting better, and going more inwards and internally, just really focusing on making shit happen.
Oh shit. And for the sake of this mic not going out, guys, and this is first episode one of Returning to Roots, and this has been an amazing journey so far. And I'm excited to bring you guys more guests. And this is what we're here to do: connect with like-minded men and women, and really begin to put down the foundations of what it means to build a community with different backgrounds, different experiences, different gifts coming together as a collective to support the one love, which is God above all. And if you guys want to reach me, you can find me at Return to Spirit across all three platforms: TikTok, IG, and YouTube. And stay tuned. You can visit my website, Spirit Returns, if you're interested in some beautiful handcrafted rings, bracelets, or necklaces. And stay tuned, guys. Authenticity is the new currency. So the more you find and seek within, you can be able to find that you are the true gift that you've been looking for. Ashe.
Ashe. Peace.